It's a happy beat, right? Let's put that on pause for now. We'll need that for the outro, though, when we open the club back up. Welcome to the show. This is KO Bets. We've got a pretty decent fight card to review, UFC Fight Night. Santos against Mogomed, Ankalov. Should be a pretty decent card. I think 14 fights in total. Really looking forward to a few of the fights. In the event taking place at the UFC Apex Arena in Las Vegas. My name is Bill. This is KO Bets. Before we get into casting our picks and predictions, if you wouldn't mind, please subscribe to the channel. All right, let's see if I can get the side right. I think it's actually my left side. Why do I? It's like right above me here. You'll see we're at 25 subscribers. Once I get to 100, I'm going to give away a UFC strike moment. So if you wouldn't mind, just hit the subscribe button. You'll get notified when I go live. I do this live format show every Friday. Probably going to be doing it a little bit later than usual, starting in 2 weeks here, because I'll be moving on to a new job. So let's get into this card. Starting with the prelims here, we're gonna go. Basically, the format is I'm gonna review each fight on the card, go through, make a money line pick, maybe give my predictions for where I think the fight is gonna end up. Ultimately, I kind of have this bad habit of changing my mind a little bit and getting more or less risky as the card is going on. So if you want to get notified of what my picks are, just join the Discord. It's growing strong. We have a good time just discussing the fights live, giving our thoughts, opinions on the fight. I'll give my picks, what I'm casting my bets on. last week we did really well. Could have done a lot better though. Just lost some fights early on and put some fighters early on that we lost on in some parlays. So it was a lot of making up for lost money. I would say for like the again up until the main event, and I keep drilling this home, like you don't have to bet on every single fight. I was betting on people I liked actually, but just not having luck in the prelims. So, but ultimately had a really good card. Colby ended up winning on via a decision or submission, minus 190. We got the odds improved from minus 355. Moicano couldn't pull it off, but honestly, I just stayed away from betting on that one. Bryce Mitchell, liked him a lot after seeing Edson Barbosa struggle with fighters like Kevin Lee and Habib. Kevin Holland brought it home. Greg Hardy couldn't do it, but bet on the finish in that one, and Sergey Spivak was able to pull that off. Let's see, anything else? Marina Rodriguez, I think she won a close one. Umar looks good. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, did definitely better on the second half of that card. So, Tafon Nchukwi taking on Azamat Mirzakhanov. Mirzakhanov is coming into this bout 10-0 professionally. He is the favorite at minus 195. Just want to make sure my mic's unmuted. You just get lost in the moment and do stupid stuff sometimes. Tafon comes into this contest. He's 6-1 professionally. Relatively unexperienced for a UFC fighter, but has 3 bouts in the UFC already. I don't know why I called him unexperienced in the UFC. Oh, it says something is malfunctioning. I just want to make sure. I think everything's good. I'm not sure what's malfunctioning with my computer, but I think we're good. The stream's going strong. Yeah, so I don't know why I called him unexperienced, because Azamat is making his UFC debut, but comes into this, Azamat showing, I guess, good striking. The numbers indicate that Tafon's output's a little bit better, but he throws a lot of heat on his shots. He's definitely going to tire out if he's not able to take out Azamat early in this matchup. Azamat's going to display better grappling, probably better gas tank. Ultimately, we're going to see better output from Azamat. He had a really impressive debut on the Contender Series. I think then he was suspended maybe, so he had to take some time off before making his UFC debut here, but really solid striker, really solid overall game, technically sound. Probably going to go with Azamat, the favorite, at minus 195 in this matchup. If I'm looking at results that I potentially like, we're looking at Tafon and Azamat. So Azamat obviously 0 losses. Tafon's 1 loss was a decision loss. And if we're going back to look at that, I want to say he was maybe grappled a little bit in that. Let's just see who his opponent was. Park, it was a majority decision. Let's click on the recap, see what happened here real quick. Yeah, not too bad in the grappling department. Just kind of got outstruck in this fight, it looks like. And then 2 takedowns to 1. Pretty straightforward. So if we're looking at results, I just like to see what the odds makers like. Let's see. Usually under fight props, there's something that says, will the fight go the distance? So the over-under set at 1.5. I mean, I guess the odd makers don't give this any shot to go the distance. I'm kind of a little confused. I mean, just based on the over-under here, it kind of seems like they think the fight's gonna not go the distance. If we're looking at winning methods, the Azamat KO is a favorite. I mean, I could see Tafon maybe tiring out in this matchup. And Azamat did show good hands, good speed. I don't know if he's going to necessarily put away Tafon. I kind of like the Azamat decision plus 330. But I guess the prudent move, like, assuming he's not going to wrestle with Tafon the whole entire match, like, the prudent move seems like this KO or decision, but that's only minus 150. Let's see, is there anything else I like? Maybe Azamat over Azamat. They don't have Azamat in over a half a round. That's a bummer. Yeah, maybe Azamat in the third or decision. Like, maybe there's value on something like that. I think Azamat can avoid the knockout punch of Tafon. Probably not going to bet too much money on this one. Might do something like, yeah, just look for value and like something later in the fight or a decision, something like that. But probably not going to bet on either fighter. But if I had to pick someone, Azamat seems like the smart and logical pick to make, in my opinion. In the next fight, we've got Chris Moitino taking on Guido Connetti. We all were introduced to Chris Moitino. I'm doing G&T's, gin and tonics, again. We were all introduced to Chris Moitino against the Sugar Show, Sean O'Malley. I mean, it was a tough opponent. Like Sean, I'm a big fan of Sean. I think he's outstanding in the striking department. I mean, Chris Moitino showed a lot of heart, but man, I don't think he had a good performance at all. I mean, I don't know. He didn't really do much the entire fight. Yeah, so it was a rough debut for sure, but he's stepped in there short notice. We knew who the opponent was. He's definitely drawing an easier matchup in this against Guido Connetti. So Guido's the underdog in this at plus 135. Again, this is a bet I'm probably just interested in staying away from. Like, could Guido Connetti, like, I mean, Chris is coming in here. He's tough, but he's also relatively inexperienced. He's only 9-5. Man, and Guido's like 42 or something like that. A little bit older. Doesn't have as many fights under his belt as a professional, but definitely he's going to be the harder puncher early in this fight. It's just like a question of, can Chris Moitino survive that? I think, yeah, we saw that against Sean O'Malley. He can survive a striking barrage, but, you know, is Guido going to be able to wrestle him? I guess is Chris anything but super tough is like what we are kind of in to see this matchup. And honestly, I'm a little bit skeptic. Like, I think just because he's the underdog, I'm kind of leaning towards Guido Connetti. just because he's the underdog, like, I think there's maybe some value there against a guy like Chris Moitino who, like, if it went to a decision, he probably got 10-7 each round, right? So it's just, I mean, he could be a blast to watch. He could be like, someone like a Darren Elkins or, grow into one of these fighters that fans just love because he does have that heart. He has that pressure. I imagine he has decent output at the end of matches, but yeah, it's a tough matchup to predict. Guido's going to be kicking him in the legs a lot more than Sean was. Sean's more of the head seeker. Yeah, it's an interesting matchup, and ultimately I'm just going to stay away from this one. I think if we're looking at the odds, I'm interested to see what like the odds makers like for does the fight go the distance. It's pretty much an even split, yes, no. Pretty even odds. I could see it if it does go to a decision being one of these split or majority decisions simply because I think you're going to have probably like if it does reach a decision, a distinct round one for Guido, a close round two, and then it's probably going to start to heavily sway in Moitino's favor. So yeah, for that, I mean, the odds makers they like Chris Moitino to win this, so they're like saying, I guess like a KO or a decision. Yeah, they're giving him even odds on this, so they're anticipating Guido just like tires out and gives up. I don't know. It's kind of a weird matchup for sure. I think I like a. I think I might put a little bit of money on like a split decision or something like that, just because it's. I don't know. It just kind of seems like to me it's gonna be a close matchup. Maybe I don't know. Maybe Moitino gets him gassed out and just dominates rounds 2 and 3. I really don't know in this one. It'll be a fun matchup to watch. Don't get me wrong, especially if like you see Moitino getting his ass kicked and then he comes back and knocks Guido out. Like it's always a riot to see like someone make a comeback and make adjustments or just like tough it out and win a fight. Like that's always exhilarating and exciting. Yeah, it's just, and then if we're looking at like their careers, Guido 1 KO loss, 4 submission losses, 1 decision loss. Chris Moitino on the other side of things, 3 KO losses, 2 submission losses. Has never lost a decision. So that's interesting. So the judges like his style, I assume, his output, his pressure. So that's a good point. Maybe I'm misguided in saying there's a little value on Guido. There might only be value on him if he knocks him out. On second thought, let's look at fight parlays. Chris Moitino over a round and a half. Maybe I'm doing something like that, Chris Moitino, third round decision, plus 175. I like the round and a half, I think, better. Maybe I'll do something like that. I'm going to write that down. Okay. Next matchup, we've got Dalcha Lungyambula taking on Cody Brundage. Interesting matchup. In my opinion, I guess I'm gonna go with Dalcha in this, and I'm looking for specifically I think a finish in this bout. If we're looking at so Dalcha's the favorite, -130. He's 2-2 in the UFC. Cody Brundage 0-1 in the UFC. Slight underdog at +110. I mean, if we're looking at both of these guys, kind of low output on the feet. Dalcha is definitely throwing again with intent, but he's going to slow down later in the fight. Cody Brundage probably going to give him more of an advantage as the fight goes on. So it's like a matter of is Dalcha going to finish this early or is Cody going to finish it late? I think that's what we're looking at here. Maybe if it goes to Cody, some sort of submission win. I'm gonna put my money on Dalcha to win this. I think he avoids the takedown early and probably cracks Cody at some point in this fight. So if we're looking at the odds makers, what they don't know. Winning method, Dalcha, KO, +180. Cody, they kind of like the Wrestle F, huh? The Wrestle F decision, I think, is what they're maybe alluding to with those odds on the Cody decision. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Dalcha. I will give him the advantage on the feet. Yeah, definitely quick, definitely powerful. Just hope he doesn't tire out in this. I kind of like this fight to not go the distance at -150 there. I don't think that's. I mean, I'm not sure for Moitino. I mean, I guess I'm not really sure for Azamat. And I feel more confidently that this won't go the distance. If I'm looking at winning method, I like Dalcha. The KO for +180 though is kind of not the best. I'm seeing can we get Dalcha and under 2.5? No. Dalcha around 1 and 2 +250. See, maybe something like that isn't bad if we're looking for better value, but kind of like Dalcha -130 though too. Next bout, we've got Sabina Mezo taking on Miranda Maverick. Sabino 9-3, 3-3 in the UFC. Heavy underdog at +270. Miranda Maverick -350 in this matchup. 2-2 in the UFC. Honestly, so just styles a little bit different for each fighter. We've got Sabina, Muay Thai, good output. Definitely holds a significant reach advantage in this one, a little bit of a height advantage. So it's about Miranda. Is she going to be able to close the distance, implement boxing, get in there, get her takedowns? I kind of think she's technically sound enough to do well on the feet in this and ultimately get those takedowns if she does need them. Do kind of worry about the first round, and I'm just wondering if we see her pressing forward this entire fight or if we're looking at her backing up at all. I hope she's moving forward for a majority of this fight. Just would hate to see her moving backwards, trying to maintain some sort of distance between her and Sabina, and I think she will press forward, but yeah, might look a little bit rough in the earlier portions of this fight. I do like Miranda. I don't know if I like the minus 350. Honestly, picking a method of victory, I think you gotta like the decision. If we're looking at Miranda Maverick, you could potentially see a submission as well if she takes down Sabina Mezo. So Miranda Maverick sub decision minus 250. Um, Fight props. Odds makers like it to go the distance. Maybe there's a Miranda Maverick third round decision minus 175. Maybe, you know, I don't know. I don't know how good Sabina's jiu-jitsu is, if it's going to be sufficient enough to prevent a ground and pound or submission stoppage. I mean, it's a tough matchup for sure for Sabina. I think no matter how you look at it, um, maybe I don't go round chasing in this one. I mean, her average fight time 12:30, so on average she's making the third round, right? Um, but maybe go a little more conservative. So maybe do something like Miranda and over 1.5. That's minus 200. Little more conservative, right? Yeah, maybe do something like that. But we like Miranda Maverick. Next bout, we've got Damon Jackson taking on Kamuela Kirk. Kamuela, 12-4 professionally. Does a lot of things well. Good striker, good submission artist. Minus 105 are his odds. Damon Jackson on the flip side, minus 115 odds. 2-1 in the UFC. Kamuela 1-0. Yeah, I mean, I think what we've got here, we've got Damon Jackson, high output, good jiu-jitsu, good cardio. I think he's a tough matchup for anyone to face. Cormuela is going to definitely have to go forward and win this fight. He is a boxer. He's more powerful. Decent grappler in his own right. Don't know if he's quite as good as like a Damon Jackson. It'll be interesting to see who's shooting in this fight. If they're able to secure takedowns or if it just gets fended off. Honestly, I think it's probably in Damon's best interest to like keep this fight dirty, get in close, maybe try and go for the takedowns, even if you're not getting them. Maybe you're leaning on Camuela against the fence, tiring him out, and then in the later rounds you can start to sprint, really show off your cardio, and maybe look to leap ahead significantly on the scorecard at that point. Like just keep it dirty and close initially, and then sprint at the end. I think Cumuela is going to hold the advantage in the stand-up department. Just don't know if he's going to have the output to win a decision. That's just my opinion. I'm curious what the odd makers like as far as the does the fight go the distance? They say yes. But as far as winning methods, Comuela KOs plus 350 or decisions plus 250. Damon plus 200. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a tough fight to predict for sure. Let's see. I think Damon is going to probably look to do exactly what I said, implement his grappling early. I think ultimately Camuela is going to be able to fend off a takedown or two in the first round, and then maybe implement some boxing. At least, I mean, it's going to be tough for him to win if this thing goes to the distance, but I mean, gosh, I don't know. Because, like, I could also see Camuela just getting so tired in round 3 or something that he just gets submitted. I don't know. It's a tough matchup. And the odds makers don't. They think it is going the distance. Man, I think there's probably value on this not going the distance. Kirk is 1-3 in decisions. Stylistically, I think the output's maybe a little bit low for him. Jackson, he is 2-0 in decisions. You know, it's just going to be a matter of can he implement the grappling. I don't know. Damon Jackson, 3 losses via KO. I guess we're going to go with Camuela. We like him on the feet. Maybe seeing Jackson has 3 out of 4 of his losses have come via KO. I like that a little bit. So let's go with Camuela, minus 105, slight underdog. As far as the winning method, I don't know, man. It's a tough, probably not going to nominate anything. Looking forward to watching the fight. I think both guys are I think stylistically it's a good matchup. Probably going to be an entertaining fight. Just can't really decide what type of result I like. Maybe the Camuela KO, but I don't know. I don't know. That's just a lot to bank on, especially Damon Jackson. He has been pretty decent, and he is decent. He's a elite jiu-jitsu, has the cardio. Like, if Camuela can't put him out, like, he's gonna win. So it's, I guess we like the Camuela KO. We like the Damon Jackson decision submission. Next bout, Trevin Jones taking on Javid Basharat. Trevin Jones, 13-7 with 1 no contest, comes in as the slight underdog with a 1-1 record in the UFC. Javid, minus 150, slight favorite, making his UFC debut. Really nice fighter. Had a great fight on the Contender Series. Just totally outclassed his opponent. 5 wins via KO, 6 via submission. So all 11 wins have come in inside the distance. It says he's 1-0 here. Has 11 professional victories, 11 professional fights. Yeah, it just seems like pretty overall well-rounded. Trevin Jones, good KO ability, good jiu-jitsu artist, has 4 wins via KO, 4 submission wins, is 6-5 in decisions. Ultimately, I'm going to go with the prospect here in Javid Basharat. Just think he's going to come into this maybe a little more well-rounded and more technically sound on the feet. So yeah, I'm going to go with Javid in this, the Snow Leopard. Next fight, we've got J.J. Aldridge taking on Jillian Robertson. Oh, let's go back to that Trevin Jones fight here. Kind of want to see if the odds makers like this one to go the distance. No. Yeah, that's pretty messed up. I mean, if you're feeling lucky, you could do maybe... Yeah, you could pick your poison between 2 different results there, but... Probably just going to go with Javid, minus 150. Not bad odds. Next fight here, we've got J.J. Aldridge taking on Jillian Robertson. J.J. Aldridge, 10-4. Kickboxer comes in 2 KO wins, 8 decision wins on a 2-fight win streak, slight underdog at plus 105. Jillian Robertson, more of the wrestling style, comes in here as the favorite at minus 125. Basically, I'm looking for Jillian Robertson to take down JJ Aldridge, implement her grappling, like her on the money line, like her to potentially get the submission. We'll see what the odds makers are saying for this fight. Oh, here it is. Okay. Okay, so pretty much even money for it to go the distance, slightly skewed in favor of us. They like the Jillian Robertson submission. I think you probably gotta like that. JJ Aldridge, by the numbers, not the best takedown defense. I know Jillian's got bad takedown, but she's always trying to wrestle. I mean, that could have been like Miranda Maverick, just like another wrestler who's going to take her down. Like, that's Jillian's game, and she's going to want to wrestle in this. So we're going to go with her on the money line, minus 125. Just like her persistence to pursue takedowns, she's going to go for it. She's not going to be, I don't think she's going to look good in the stand-up at all. If it does reach a decision, depending on how much control Jillian's able to hold, like, it could be a close bout. Ultimately, I kind of like the Jillian submission, but that was only, what, plus 180? Yeah, I mean, I guess I would just go with her on the money line at that point. JJ Aldridge, she has 0 losses, 2 submission, like, via this. Oh no, she has 1 submission loss. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm just kind of curious if I'm gonna, like, I probably wouldn't do submission, but maybe I would do, like, maybe I would do something like Jillian over a round and a half, but that's only plus 150. Just a little worried about her swarming her right away and just like JJ showing no ground game early in the match, but I guess we'll have to see it play out. I do like Jillian Robertson in this, so we're going to roll with her on the money line. Next fight, we've got Matthew Semmelsberger, 9-3, taking on AJ Fletcher, 9-0. Fletcher's making his UFC debut. He had a nice KO, flying knee KO on the Contender Series. Undefeated record. He's going in there against Matthew Semmelsberger. So maybe AJ Fletcher's maybe a little more dynamic in the stand-up department, but like I think Matthew Semmelsberger is bringing a lot more experience, maybe a little more technically sound on his side of the octagon. I think he's gonna fare well in this fight. I mean, basically just on account of the fact that I think he's a little more technically sound. He's 3-1 in the UFC. He's probably gonna have a grappling advantage if he wants to explore that route. If AJ Fletcher's powerful on the feet and giving him issues, Matthew Semmelsberger could always rely on some sort of takedown game plan. That's always a possibility. So I guess I just like more methods of victory with Matthew Semmelsberger. AJ Fletcher, basically you're looking for some sort of finish, like a KO or a club and sub, something like that. Matthew Semmelsberger, he's lost one match via KO, one via submission, and one via decision. So, not really interested in betting on the method of victory in this. Maybe there's, because I like Semmelsberger, maybe there's value on the decision in this. We'll see what the odds makers like. They do not like this fight to go the distance. I mean, if they're just going to throw down and trade, yeah, that's what they like. They like the Semmelsberger KO or the Fletcher KO. I mean, yeah, if they're going to just throw down and trade, like, I don't know, AJ Fletcher's pretty dynamic on the feet, and he's going to, I think he's going to, be dangerous initially in this fight. Interesting matchup, like Matthew Semmelsberger, minus 195. Next fight, we've got Alex Perea taking on Bruno Silva. Really looking forward to this matchup. This is one we can just go to the odds. Like, I'm pretty confident they're going to like this one to end inside the distance. Yeah. Minus 650. So you've got, like, two guys that are known to, to stand up and trade. Alex Perea knocked out Izzy Adesanya way back in the day as a, in the kickboxing circuit. Bruno Silva, 19 KO wins. I mean, all four of Perea's wins have come via KO. He's 4-0. Kind of wonder what kind of matchup we're going to see here. Like, stylistically, sometimes when you get the two super dangerous strikers, you just see both fighters just kind of profoundly respect each other's abilities, take a step back, and it's a more technical fight than you would have envisioned. I'm thinking like Thiago Santos against Johnny Walker. I'm thinking that's a good one. Just it'll be interesting to see here if, I mean, I was going to say you could bet on like a knockout in this one, but I bet you that, yeah, the odds are horrible, minus 550. So they want you picking someone on the money line. If it's a stand-up fight, you gotta like Alex Perea. You gotta like him for a potential knockout. You gotta like him for a potential decision. Hang on, I gotta plug in my computer, otherwise we're gonna die before the main event. I'm not even gonna make it. I didn't even realize this wasn't plugged in. So probably gonna go with, like I said, Alex Perea. Maybe tickle, like, maybe tickle like that, let's see what, Perea decision plus 800. Maybe tickle something like that. Like, I think you've just seen it a lot of times. Oh, another great one. Izzy Adesanya against Paulo Costa. Or not Paulo, Yoel Romero. I mean, we're going to assume Alex Perea carries tremendous... I mean, we know what he does. He's got crazy stand-up. So, but Silva is dangerous and, like, powerful. So, I think it's definitely risky if you're looking for a decision. I'm just saying, something I've observed in stylistically what you perceive to be like a guaranteed knockout isn't always a knockout. If we look at Bruno Silva, 5 of his losses, submission losses. His one other loss was a DQ. He did an up kick. On the flip side, Alex Perea, 1 submission loss. Like, is Bruno Silva, we'll give him a grappling edge, but we haven't seen that from him. So, I don't know. It's stylistically, it's an interesting matchup. I'm definitely interested to see what happens, like, in the fight. I don't think anyone's gonna grapple. If they do grapple at all, we'll give the advantage to Silva, I guess. Just trying to see height. Yeah, Perea is gonna be taller. Interesting fight for sure. Next fight, we've got Drew Dober taking on Terence McKinney. Man, this one is tough because Terence McKinney just fought, and so now he's stepping in on short notice, and he looks super impressive in his 2 UFC fights, right? It was like a 1-punch KO in his debut, and then he got the round 1 submission. His last fight, which was like 2 weeks ago or something like that. So he's taken on his toughest opponent yet, though, and Drew Dober, who's super dynamic, tough, good cardio, good boxing, good wrestling. So it's like, are we going to see magic from Terence McKinney again? Maybe. It's just like such a tough fight. I think if it was like both fighters had full camps, I might be more confident in picking Terence McKinney, but he is the underdog at plus 140, and I think he deserves to be the underdog just because of the resume of what Drew Dober's done. Drew Dober is on a 2-fight losing streak, however. If we're looking at Drew Dober's last 2 fights, submission, Islam, understandable. Brad Riddell then, like, Bradford Riddell's a good boxer, and then he beat Hernandez. He KO'd Hernandez. Just because it's not fresh in my head, I just wanted to see who Terence beat his last fight. Ziam and Matt Frivola. So, I mean, no, like, for sure no slouches he's beat. I'm going to go with the underdog, McKinney, in this at plus 140. Just kind of love what I've seen from him. I don't know if he's... I mean... Is it maybe a little fluky, crazy? Maybe a little bit, but I mean, the longer this fight goes, the more it's going to skew in favor of Drew Dober. McKinney, 0 of his professional fights have gone the distance, so all 15 of them have ended inside the distance. If we're looking at Drew Dober, he's been in 13 decision contests. He's got 10 KOs, 6 submission wins. I mean, I think it spells maybe a finish, this matchup. Kind of curious what the odds makers feel for fight props. Yeah, they think it's not going to go the distance. I tend to agree. I think the longer this fight goes, maybe McKinney gets tired out or whatever. I'm going to go with McKinney. I kind of like... I mean, I kind of like something early if I'm doing McKinney. So if I'm doing McKinney, it would be maybe like McKinney and under. And if I'm doing Drew Dober, it's maybe like Drew and over, something like that. Like maybe you could still walk away and make some money betting on both of those types of fights. Like McKinney rounds 1, 2, Dober, 3 or decision. Yeah, I mean, it's not. I think what you do is you like. Yeah, so I mean, you're basically betting $10. Worst case scenario, you're walking away with $5.75 for each bet. Something like that could be maybe smart, but then you get like the Terence Mckinney decision or something like that, and it just totally screws everything up. It happens though, right? So you just don't want to risk too much on the fights. Going with T-Rex in this, just really impressive prospect thus far. I just worry in this fight maybe he bit off a little more than he could chew. Wish he had a full camp. Um, yeah, a lot of disadvantages, but hey, you got an opportunity to face a vet in Drew Dober. You win this one in spectacular fashion, like, who knows where you go, you know? Next, you could go anywhere, so, yeah, maybe for as far as like the lock type bet, like maybe it doesn't go the distance, right? Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. Next fight, we've got Khalil Roundtree taking on Carl Robertson. Khalil Roundtree, 10-5 professional. Well, I have 9-5 with 1 no contest, but 10-5 it says. He's on a 1-fight win streak, slight underdog at plus 105. Carl Robertson, slight favorite at minus 125. He's on a 2-fight losing streak. All 4 of Robertson's losses have come via submission. You're not going to get that from Khalil Roundtree. You're going to get more of the Muay Thai style. It's an interesting matchup. I think we're going to see a lot of kicking in this. Ultimately, Carl Robertson, he's stepping up from 185 to 205. I don't think I love that adjustment. And, I mean, maybe not the adjustment. Maybe it's a good move for him. Maybe he looks terrific. He's fast. He's still powerful. His kicks are strong. Like, maybe it works out well for him, the move. I kind of am just going to go with the guy who's been fighting at 205, Khalil Roundtree. I think he's just, like, the damage from his shots is going to show up a little more on Carl Robertson. I'm betting the odds makers do not like this one to go the distance, but let's check it out. Yeah, they don't. Probably like KOs for either fighter. Yep. Like a KO for either fighter, plus 215, plus 225. So, I mean, the KO is the method of victory for either fighters, minus 150. It's a tough line to predict. Tough line to predict. Ultimately, I guess I just like the money line for Khalil Roundtree. Probably is going to throw less output. I mean, I don't know, though. Like, who knows how Carl's going to carry that weight? I don't know. It's an interesting fight for sure. Khalil hits a lot of air, according to the statistics, but was definitely looking pretty good in his last fight. So we'll go with him on the money line. Sadiq Youssef taking on Alex Caceres. Alex Caceres coming in with an impressive 5-fight win streak, karate style. Heavy underdog, though, at plus 215, taking on Sadiq Youssef, who is 4-1 in the UFC. He's on a 1-fight losing streak. I forget who he lost to. There's a decision. Is that Brandon? Arnold Allen. Oh, the number 10. I assume on account of takedowns and ground control. I don't think we're going to get that at all from Alex Caceres in this. 0 chance. I love Sadiq Youssef in this matchup. I think Alex Caceres, he's savvy, he's an interesting fighter. I think he's got good jiu-jitsu, probably more experience, but ultimately I like Sadiq Youssef in this. Winning method, fight props, I'm betting. Okay, so they like it to go the distance. I don't know about that. Sadiq's 5-1 in decisions. Alex Caceres 9-4. Sadiq's got 6 KO wins. Alex Caceres 3 KO wins, 7 submission wins. Like, is Alex Caceres going to be able to come in here and grapple? I don't think so. I don't think so, but I like Sadiq. I just think stylistically what we've seen from him is like that karate style. Now, I don't know. He is on an impressive win streak. Like, maybe he is just in total control in there, but I think against another stand-up fighter with Sadiq's skill set, I think he's in for a tough matchup in this. Again, just to check it out. Yeah, they like the fight to go the distance. Maybe some value on this one not going the distance. Caceres has 1 KO loss, 7 submission losses, 4 decision losses. Sadiq, 1 KO loss, 1 decision loss. Decent co-main event here. Marlon Morales taking on Song Yadong. Marlon Marais, crazy resume. He is... Let's see, he's on a 3-fight losing streak. He's 1-4 in his last 5, but I mean, we're talking... So he beat Aldo, but then otherwise it's like, we're talking about like Henry Cejudo, what's his face? This is real compelling stuff, trying to... Corey Sandhagen, Rob Font, Dishvali. Yeah, just a kind of a rough string of opponents here, and it doesn't get any easier. This division is just so dynamic at this stage. It's crazy. So DC has said before he thinks Marlon Morales is the hardest puncher in this division. He could be, but he definitely has gas tank issues. He's taking on a very, very technically sound striker in Song Yadong, who's going to have the better output. He's going to have the better lungs, cardio on him. Later and later this match goes. I mean, can Marlon Marais catch him? Sure. I just don't think he will. We're going with the favorite in this one, Song Yadong, minus 265. Yeah, he's quick, good output. Ultimately, I think he's able to maybe put away Marlon Marais, like maybe later in the fight. We're looking at what the odds makers like as far as the fight props. They don't like the fight to go the distance. Winning method, Marais KO, Sedong KO they love. I think if we're looking at fight parlays, like maybe if you like Song Yadong, like maybe you do Song and over a round and a half. What is that? Plus 165? Yeah, like maybe there's some value there. Because Marlon's gonna be dangerous round one. That's plus 165. But yeah, I kind of like that a little bit if we're searching for better odds. Yeah, as far as Marlon Marais, man, he is strong, he is powerful, he's just getting, lately he's just getting clipped more than he's clipping other people, you know, and I think that's going to be the case again in this fight. Just a super tough matchup, and, you know, super nice career, super nice run from Marlon Marais, just crazy talented division. Not sure how he navigates his way back to the top if he's not able to beat Song Yadong this weekend. But really solid matchup ultimately. The next fight, we've got Thiago Santos taking on Mogomed Ankalov in the main event. Mogomed only loss was where he was dominating Paul Craig. Like, I think they just give 205-pounders and heavyweights making their debuts, like, occasionally they just call up Paul Craig. They're like, hey, we got to see if this guy's the real deal and can go 15 minutes. And Paul Craig catches him with a rear naked choke, kind of fluky. But otherwise, 7-0 streak since then at 205. Really dynamic fighter. Crazy odds here at minus 600. And you just think of like Thiago Santos and like where he was at, and like, can he get back there? Maybe, I don't know. Last fight, I think we saw him against Johnny Walker, and to be perfectly honest, like, Johnny Walker's not what he used to be. And what we saw from that fight was just an extremely, I mean, he's not losing to slouches, that's for sure. But what we saw was like an extremely technical fight, in my opinion. Thiago, crazy powerful leg kick, strong, but really low output. That's just my opinion. He's 1-3 in his last 4. That's since including his fight with John Jones. So it was like the loss to Jones, double knee surgery, then lost to Glover, who obviously we know he went on, beat Jan. Rakic lost, decision, unanimous decision. Walker, unanimous decision win. Now he's facing Ankalov, and I mean, Mogomed is dynamic, good striker. I think he's always got the grappling advantage if he wants to explore that. Like, maybe he does explore that, especially in the earlier rounds. You still don't want to get kicked by those Thiago leg kicks. You don't want to get punched too hard early in the fight because you could go down. This is a 5-round fight. You just gotta, you like Mogomed a lot, and what you've seen out of Mogomed thus far in his career. Minus 600 does suck. It does suck. You know, and it's like, I don't know, like, if Thiago knocks out Johnny Walker, like, maybe Magomed's like minus 300, but I think you gotta just like consider like, he's gonna hold so many advantages, and it's just a matter of, like, for Thiago, like, can he clip him or hurt him, like, really bad to the body? And I don't think he can. Yeah, it'll be interesting. They've got the Mogomed Ankalov KO for plus 110 is the better odds. I think if we're looking at fight parlays, like, maybe I'm doing Mogomed and over, over something. Mogomed and over a round and a half, minus 175. Like, yeah, maybe that's what I'm looking to do, just to improve my odds a little bit in this. It is a 5-round fight. It's going to be Magomed's first main event. Maybe he does conserve the gas tank. I mean, it would definitely suck if he went out there and just fucking pours it on and gets that quick finish, but unfortunately this fight seems like maybe I'm going in on Song Yadong and I'm like sprinkling a little bit of the winnings on Ankalaev here, but not doing what I did with Colby last weekend, and just not carrying the same sort of confidence in over 1.5 rounds for this, simply because you do have two extremely dynamic strikers on either side, and you never know what's going to happen, right? You gotta account for the fact that you're going to be wrong on occasion, so just play it safe. I think we made it pretty much the entire show without my computer making too much noise, but it has started, which tells me it's probably time to sign off. I appreciate everyone watching who tuned in. Feel free to join the Discord. Please subscribe to the channel. Again, my name's Bill. I really appreciate the support. Thank you. Have a good weekend. Let's open up the club. Just as we're signing off here, I did play some NBA bets. I think I had the Suns, Memphis, Detroit. They're good with Cade Cunningham at point guard, and they had 14 points or something against Boston. That's ridiculous. I think I had the Heat. Oh shit, and they're down exactly 14. Damn. Oh, Hornets I took. Pelicans were without McCollum and Ingram. Oh, Grizzlies are down though to the Knicks in the third. Suns are down. So, alright, have a good weekend, everyone.
Talks.